Hey, what is up guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Game 2 between Team Liquid and Quincy crew and kind of just breaking it down, and really I'm going to put my major focus on the gameplay of Yawar and his Juggernaut. He has a really fantastic game here, and I kind of want to see what happens and why it works out so well for him against a very aggressive team comp. How do you find space? On top of that, Death Prophet absolutely pops off. He goes ham. In general, I love the Quincy crew draft. I think it's very well-rounded. Good lanes, good team fight, good pick off. And yeah, let's get into it. By the way, I want to mention, as a quick, bit of a side note, if you're into drafting and you like to know when to pick stuff, why pros pick stuff, when you should pick stuff in your pubs, I did a full draft analysis of this exact match on the GameLeap website. I go really in-depth. It's like a 10-minute video on just the draft. So I go super in-depth on every single pick, every single ban, and so you guys will really enjoy that. So yeah, go click the link down below if you're interested in that type of thing, and I'll see you there. Alright, so the first play I want to look at is a play by Leslau on his offlane DP that I think is absolutely crucial. I will say that this situation doesn't come up a lot in your average to low MMR pub, but if you start moving up the ranks, then you really want to be afraid of this. On top of that, if you're a position 4 player, you should be making the move that that Taiga does almost every single game. And let's take a look at what that exactly is. So the Earth Spear you're going to see is sitting top here. Why? He has a kill safe lane. So whenever you have a kill safe lane, and your offlane is not threatened particularly heavily, you should go to the safe lane and look for a kill. This Timber is not threatened by Jug Enigma. That lane cannot zone him out. I mean, yeah, they can do a little bit. They can be annoying. Any 2v1 at level 1 is basically going to be bad to some extent, but it's not going to be horrible. However, at level 1, in the top lane, they can easily get a kill. They roll in, they follow it up with an Earth Splitter into an, into a Oracle Q, and it's basically a guaranteed kill on almost every single hero. And so of course he should do that, right? And so look for those situations. But obviously this goes both ways. Not only is Taiga doing this, but Leslau understands that this is likely to happen. And so you can see he's just nuking out the waves from really far on the right side trees, because obviously the position 4 will likely, if they're anywhere, set up from here or here. And so this is a generally safe position, staying as far away as humanly possible, away from this Leshrac and away from this Oracle. And yeah, they get a decent amount of XP. Tusk drags the wave, and so everything is fine and dandy. So the next thing that I really like from Quincy crew is how they set up their mid-game lanes. Now, I guess when I'm talking about the mid-game, it's still like sort of the laning stage. We're 8 minutes in here, and the lanes have started to swap. So what are we going to notice? What has swapped? Well, the Death Prophet has gone bottom, the Jug has gone top, the Tusk is sapping mid, and the Razor is jungling. Now, why would they do this? So let's really break it down, because if they don't do a play like this, they're just going to get completely stomped. This is why if people are like, Speed, I have no idea why I would just like instantly lose in a 7 or 8 KMR game. Like, why would it be so bad? Because they're always going to optimize their matchups, and you're going to be put in lanes that you literally cannot play. And so you have to swap, and you have to switch, otherwise you cannot play the game of Dota. So in this case, Razor at some point or another cannot really lane against Lone Druid too well. That is why the mid tower fell. Clearly, Quincy crew is fine of just giving it up. This is a little bit different than what you would expect, but this is their understanding of the match, and they ended up winning, so I definitely want to look into it. What they said is basically, okay, the enemy team has picked an early game draft. They have Lone Druid, Timber, Leshrac. It is brutal to fight these heroes in the early game, right? Very hard, especially before Black Hole, before Punch. They don't have, like, good setup yet. Their stuns are not online, right? Their lockdown isn't here. And so they're not going to try to do that. So they give it up, and then now they're going to put their DP against the Timber, which is still really not that good for DP. Frankly, Timber can kite away from her E. He just does so much damage that she nearly can't heal through it. So it's just not really a good matchup even then, which is why at some point or another you're even going to see her go for a smoke play, which I think makes a lot of sense. It is a bit of a tough smoke play. They don't, as I said, their stuns aren't too much online, but they do have a decent amount of points in this queue, right? In the Enigma queue, they got 2 points in the Tusk, and so they're going to look for a dive, and that's exactly what they do. And they're basically trying to play around a numbers advantage, right? They're trying to create a numbers advantage and play around Death Prophet ulti. Whenever you have Death Prophet ulti, you can basically, I'm not going to say guarantee win a fight, but you're putting yourself in a position to win a fight because the spell just does way too much damage. The only weakness of the spell is it's relatively easy to run away from, and therefore, when you're playing Death Prophet, you want to try to smoke around your ulti, right? You want to do dive plays. Usually dives are not good, but with Death Prophet they are good because, number 1, you do a ton of damage. Number 2, the strength of Death Prophet is when enemy team runs into you, right? When they run into you. Even same thing for Razor, even same thing for Enigma, right? With Midnight Pulse. And so they have like a really good like run into you draft. It's really nice for that reason. And so when they go on this lone druid, the enemy team's going to try to save them, and they're going to put themselves in the middle of a tag team, in the middle of a midnight pulse, in the middle of a death prophet ulti, and it's going to be very hard to fight into. And you'll see Liquid's going to go for this, but they already caught the lone druid, which is an incredible start to the fight. Obviously, it's not some fantastic engagement. As I said, the enemy team has literally heroes that want to fight at this point of the game, right? They have these 9-minute heroes. Even with Death Prophet, it's still going to be a hard fight. You can see Westlau is trying to force him away. He's still going on his Timber, still trying to force a little bit of mid pressure, maybe even get some bounties. And all in all, as unfavorable as that might have looked, I don't think it's that bad of a play. I do think Liquid is a freaking really good Dota team, and so they responded instantly. But in your average pub, if you have a hero like Death Prophet, or you have these dive heroes, make that smoke play, dive the mid tier 1 tower, and the enemy team will not respond as well as Liquid did. And they likely won't have heroes as good as Liquid heroes to respond with, right? You see what I'm saying? On top of that, the most important thing out of all of that is the hero that got the most space in that was the Jug, right? Jug got the farm top. Then when the enemy team walked top, he TP's bottom, right? And so they're able to enable space for their hard carry. The enemy team doesn't really have a hard carry. It doesn't mean the enemy team doesn't scale, but it definitely means they scale, I would say, a little bit worse. All right, next up is maybe their best play of the game. I really do believe that this sequence of plays by Quincy Crew was super high tier. So they're going to go on this Timber top. Usually not something you want to do, especially with an Oracle behind him, but a big thing about going on Timber, if you have players that don't understand this concept, you can punish it, which is if you go on a hero like Timber, his teammates will, come in to save him, even when they don't have to. Like, frankly, I think Insania really overextended there. I think that was quite a mechanical mistake on his part. Just because, Timber's not going to get bursted there, right? He's almost full HP. So I do think that he had a bit of time to stay in position before going out of position, obviously. So the Timber's fine, but in the natural succession of things, as we've talked about, whenever you go on the tanky hero, the only advantage to it, even though it typically is a bit suspect to go on a hero like Timber, is if you have the awareness, you can quickly say, okay, they're going in, right? They're going to say, oh, they're going on Timber, right? Quincy Crew is going on Timber. We can go on the back line. But if you have the awareness, then you can switch your attention away from the Timber, like Lesso does here, onto the Leshrac, and the Jug does the same thing. Jug TPs to the tier 1, and they kill off this Leshrac, right? Leshrac does not like playing against Jug. I talked about this in the drafting video, and that's largely for one of the reasons. Before Yules, Omni-Slash easily solo kills you, as you are not a high armor hero or a tanky hero. And now, the most important part of this play is what we are going to see here. The whole dive and the whole switching of awareness was crucial to kill off the Lesh, right? But this is the most important part right here. What should Quincy Crew do next? What should they do next? Okay? You have to think about what we know, right? In order to make an educated decision here, we have to understand what's been committed, what spells have been committed. What has been committed? Death Prophet ulti, Omni-Slash, Razor ulti, right? So everybody's ulti, even Walrus Punch. That's coming up, but they have no mana, right? No mana, no mana, no mana, no mana, no ulti, no Enigma. Enemy team, respawning. This guy has plenty of mana, he's fine. Leshrac, respawning. Earth Spirit, respawning. Ulti, Lone Druid, respawning with Bear. Who wins the next fight? It seems pretty obvious now, right? It seems pretty obvious. It's like, yeah, it's Liquid. But what makes you a good player or not is if you can actually realize that without having to have pop a speed, frickin' go over every single spell one by one, right? That's the difference. That's what makes someone good or not. And so the reason why they have to disengage here, and really the main telltale sign, because you're not going to be able to check every spell every time, and Dota's such a hard game, but you typically want to know what your main teamfight spell is. The easiest way to do what I'm doing here in game without just blowing up your brain is picking the main teamfight spell and saying, okay, is that spell up or not? What is the main teamfight spell for them? It is Death Prophet ulti, by far. Enigma ulti on a 5 is not nearly as important as Death Prophet ulti, not even close, right? So Death Prophet ulti is ending. They should not fight. They should not fight. They cannot fight. They have to dodge here, right? And so they get out. And literally just this disengage is why they are a professional team. They do hesitate a little bit, goes for silence, tries to prevent anyone from getting caught, but they get out. And literally just this makes them good. I cannot stress this enough, because I guarantee if I put 3K, 2K, 1K, 4K, 5K more players in their exact position, 90% of them would say we should push the tier 1 tower because we just want to fight, and they would feed. And their entire lead that they just got would immediately go to nothing. And then some garbage player would say, oh my god, we didn't push the tier 1 and we lost the fight because Death Prophet didn't commit hard enough. No, it's because you have no spells and no mana. Alright, let's get back into some more high-tier decision-making. Now, Liquid's trying to force the high ground. They have this team comp that doesn't really want to go late game, as we talked about. They definitely do not scale as well as Quincy Crew. I would say it's not even really close, especially when you have like something like a 5 Enigma, right? If he ever comes on the line, he ever gets Blink BKB, let's say even if it's 40 to 50 minutes into the game, you know, that completely changes how the game's going to be played. Because, I mean, he could solo Black Hole Oracle and it would be fine, you know? You just remove that guy from the fight and that can completely change the game. But that's besides the point. Really what I want to focus on here is Liquid goes high ground. Liquid makes the read that Jug is going to split push mid if they go high ground. So Liquid then goes in, making that read, and they go onto this Juggernaut mid. They kill him off, right? They chase him down. They get that kill. Good read. But the only thing about that is that they didn't really back from bottom, which I think was a big mistake from Liquid. Right? Big mistake. It's technically a great play by Quincy Crew, right? They make this recognition that they're on mid. They go on this Oracle. They get the silence out onto the Oracle to try to prevent the save. He gets it out, but, you know, at the end of the day, it still kills off the Oracle. He does save Mickey, but Mickey is already 2 HP. Boxy can't go in. He can't run through Midnight Pulse and a Razor Q and, you know, DP ulti. We talked about how DP is a counter, you know, one of those harder counters to Timber. That matchup is so bad for Timber. I've played it so much. You cannot kill her. She heals so much off of you. Even Lone Druid, DP is a counter to Lone Druid. You suck off the bear, you know, even though you might get arrested for it, it does heal you a lot. So the reality is, you know, that's also a good matchup. I mean, look at this bear here. It's a full HP bear. Quaif is feeling himself, and then the spirits, I swear, that's literally what it is, because spirits are physical, right? So low armor heroes get shredded by them. And what you notice is when the bear pops Mask of Madness is... Right, the bear pops Mask of Madness, his armor goes to negative, almost negative, yeah. Once he starts getting affected by Eye of the Storm, his armor goes negative, and then the spirits start hitting him. You know, the DP's running away, but the spirits hit him. Bah! And the bear gets removed. Now, once again, another good decision by them, which I think is why these bots on DP is so good. I know I said I was going to spend a lot of time on Jug, but I guess I was lying. I'll spend some more time on Jug now, as he comes online later into the game. But to be fair, right now, at this point, he's 0-1. But he ends the game 8-1 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we'll start looking at him now, right? The very clear goal of this Jug is to scale. He's trying to get to that level 20 timing, right, when he has that spin talent. Because when he has the spin talent, he can basically just solo kill something like the Oracle. Even though Oracle can W himself, right, you buy up the shard. You can swift slash in, spin, and you're going to kill off that Oracle. Or even Leshrac. As I said, Leshrac hates Jug. But yeah, let's get into this engagement as a Juggernaut. So here, he kind of has to kite out this fight, so... this is a very hard engagement. Let's see what he does, win or loss in the fight. So he starts out the fight, runs in, right? Looking for a target. I think he would have considered Omni-slashing the bear just to get it out of the fight. I think, does he have 2? Yeah, okay, he has 2. So, you probably don't want to Omni-slash the bear in this case. But he spins in, right? Trying to take out the first light of the bear. Realizes, okay, if I chase here, it's probably really bad, right? Because in these high tier games, if you chase with your spin, they're going to time when your spin is ending and they're going to try to chain stun you. Before you can get Omni-slash off. And so you don't really want to overcommit in that case. So once again, not overcommitting, playing really slow. Finds Mickey eventually. As I said, this matchup is so favorable. Finds Mickey, great punch by the Tusk to cancel out the Lesh stun so Jug won't die. Healing ward on the back line, gets mana booted, goes in with the healing ward. As I said, such a good healing ward game, really is. As you can see, they can't kill it. It's going to heal up the Razor. Bit of bad micro here. Freaking noob. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah, just a nice kited fight, understanding that he has to hold the Omni-slash until he can get it onto the back line without a Lotus Orb coming into play. Alright, finally he hits level 20, get the Blade DPS talent. I swear, dude, I actually have had multiple players in my pubs, multiple, take 8 armor. I swear to God, guys, if I ever see you take 8 armor on a hero like Jug, who already has 25 armor, I'm going to go insane. Why do you need 8 armor? Why do you need 8 armor? Go solo kill someone with spin. You don't need 8 armor. If you need 8 armor, I don't know, you're doing something wrong. Alright, now their team comp is really online. The healing ward with DP plus Razor makes him so tanky, and you're gonna see he can go in here. And honestly, I think he should have spinned a little bit earlier. I guess he wants to hold it just to make sure he cannot get gone on by the Timber. Also, if he gets rooted, you do want to have the option to spin off the root if possible. But yeah, he's gonna disengage, right? Alright, let's see how he plays the last fight. He went for Scotty this game over the Abyssal, which, I mean, I think he makes sense. The enemy team doesn't really have that mobile of heroes. What I mean by that is, I mean, I guess, like, you could argue that Leshrac is pretty fast, Timber's pretty fast, even Lone Druid is pretty fast, but the thing is, like, Scotty against Lesh and Lone Druid and Timber for the anti-heal, even against Oracle, right, is so good. Anti-heal this game is incredibly valuable, incredibly valuable. So I think even for that reason alone, it's good. Then, We talked about it. I really think it's his job primarily to kill off this Lesh. If he can burst the Lesh and prevent him from going in, it's tough, because Leshrac is a hero that has to go melee range, which is why he hates Jug, because Jug can kind of just like, you know, you just Omni Slash, Swift Slash, it's going to do like half of his HP at minimum if he doesn't get Yules off or anything like that. And so, yeah, so you kind of just go on him, you slow the Leshrac by 50% with Scotty, and you prevent any healing. So it kind of just destroys that hero. So I like the Scotty just solely for that matchup. On top of that, you know, when you hit this level 20 talent, I really do believe that when you hit the level 20 talent, if you can just stay alive and get off multiple spins in a fight, as well as multiple Swift Slashes in a fight, you're chilling, which is why typically Abyssal or Scotty after Axe is the way to go, just to build up tankiness. But yeah, once again in this fight, you basically just Swift Slash the first thing you can kill. In this case, it was a bear, sure, great. Goes for the Omni Slash on a Quaifa, there's nothing to save him besides Oracle ulti, which is fine. Then after that, you typically would want to spin because you don't have any other options, and the spin is going to absolutely shred the enemy team. Taiga goes in, but he's going to start dying to the spin as well. Quaifa is 100% not living through that, and oh my god, whew, that is a lot of damage. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that analysis of Quincy Crew versus Team Liquid as they take game 2. Proud of NA, you know, I'm just always love to see the region doing well. You know, people are like, oh my god, NA can't compete, they're so much worse. I'm like, what? What do you mean they're so much worse? Look at Quincy Crew popping off, boys, popping off. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, yeah, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and go get your GameLeap sub for the draft analysis. I'll see you there. Peace. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.